To continue our discussion from the beginning of the video, how did the newly immigrant farmers or tax farmers become the owners of beautiful plantations, stealing your ancestors' cookies in the process? As we all know, wars are fought over commodities. The smokescreen for the Civil War was freeing the slaves. The terms slave and master weren't widely used until the propaganda campaigns leading up to the Civil War. So, we often hear the terms slave quarters and master thrown around. According to etymology, a quarter is a military dwelling, placed in a sense of portion of a town. A slave, according to etymology, is the person who is in chattel or property of another. Now, in the beginning of this video, I broke down the difference between a planter and a farmer. Knowing this difference is very important. In the 1800s, farmers attended auctions to bid on planters. Planters are the proprietors of plantations, meaning they owned everything that resided on their properties, from the cattle to the people who worked for them. Upon winning the bids at auctions, the farmer was now over collecting taxes on that plantation. If the planter did not pay his taxes as mandated by the farmer, or produce enough crops as mandated, the farmer would literally confiscate the planter and everything that he owns on the plantation, including all estates, animals, plowing tools, and the children and the wife of the planter. If the children and the wife worked on the plantation, they would be listed as slaves. This system was the beginning of the actual slave trade that happened domestically here in America. Also, notice that slave masters had to pick up their checks from the government or have a power of attorney pick up their checks on their behalf. Sounds like a military worker, right?
Today we are reviewing the 1865 Quartermaster Manual. I bought it from the Regimental Quartermaster. I was on the fence for quite a while about purchasing this book because it was so expensive and there was no information online as to what was actually in it. So I kind of took the leap of faith and hoped that I'd get a home run with the wealth of information that may or may not have been in this book. They go into in-depth detail about common types of fabric, the properties of fabric, types of threads that you would use and what they would be used for, different types of rope and what to look for in rope. They have numerous pages of weights and measures and formulas for various things.
It gets worse. In the 1800s, the government allocated funds to pay militias for the slaughtering of our ancestors. Each Indian scalp was worth up to $25. A bounty was literally put on their heads. This should help you understand why the elders in your family were afraid to freely call themselves Indian. Till this day, the powerful tribes of our ancestors are still mocked. Florida State is the Seminoles, and in their fight song, it refers to scalp 'em in the fight song. And so for the black people who attend Florida State, if you don't know your history and you sitting here reciting a fight song that says scalp 'em and you are the scalpee, then you need to pick up a book, because you were the Indians that they were riding on the horses to capture and scalp.
An American would not murder women and children.